Now, unless I'm filing some sort of a legal document, I seldom use the word covenant in my everyday verbiage. And yet, every day of my life, there are covenants that I'm part of that will help us to understand this text and hopefully what I'm trying to point out this morning. One would be marriage. So 45 years ago, Cindy and I stood before an official, and we exchanged vows. That official pronounced us husband and wife, and we made promises. She said, I will do this in her vows, and I said, I will do this in my vows. That's a relationship that we had, and when that was done, she put a ring on my finger, and I put one on hers. Now, for you, this is, there's some value. It's gold. There's a little bit of money there, but otherwise, it's just a piece of jewelry. You can't take my ring and put it on your finger and be married to her. But here's the deal. When I look at the ring, it reminds me of something we said to each other 45 years ago. Another form of covenant that we don't use the word often with is mortgage. If you're a homeowner in this place, you know that at some point you made an agreement with a mortgage company or with a builder, a contractor, with an individual person, and you said for X amount of money every month for X amount of years, I will fulfill my end of the bargain. And they say, if you do that, you can have the house. You can have the house. Their part is they provide the house. Your part is you follow the rules. You follow the rules to the covenant because you want to keep your house. Let's think of a couple other ones that you may never have thought about. How about Costco? You know, I have this card. I guess I now have an app, and some once a year we pay X amount of money. We've now done this for a long time, and we go in and we buy a lot more of what we really don't need, but we love every minute of it. And you probably do the same thing, right? That's called Costco. And there's this idea that as long as I'm a member, I can do that. How about another one that, I'm sure in the Rogue Valley, this isn't something that most people are involved with, but at my house, Prime Amazon comes to my house every day. My grandson, he lives in California, and once in a while he'll text his grandma, and he's passed a semi-truck with Amazon Prime, and he goes, Grandma, they're on the way. And in all of these situations, if we stop doing our part, the trucks stop coming to the house. You can't continue with the benefits if you choose to not follow all of the conditions. A covenant always requires two parts. And the same is true in a covenant with God. Covenant with God includes God's part, but it also includes our part. See, some people go to God because they want the fire escape from hell. And by the way, that's a really good reason. But if that's your only reason, you're missing the majority of what God has for you. Let me bring this down to where I think you can see why it was so hard for me. There are times in my life where I want to give God certain parts of my life, and I'm serious about that. And because he thinks I'm serious, he begins to act like the Lord in my life, and then that ticks me off. Maybe I'm a man, some of you ladies might say, but the reality of it is I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. That's just my human nature, and yet when that comes to God, that doesn't work. That's like me entering one of these other covenants that I mentioned and saying, by the way, I want to be in the covenant and I want all the benefits of what you have to offer, but I'm going to be the boss. It doesn't work in those covenants, and it doesn't work with God. But you have to realize that the creator of the universe has had absolutes from the beginning of time. And if we're going to line up with God, it's not a religion thing, it's not a denomination thing, it's a relations thing with God. And he paid the price and said, I will give you life abundantly, but you have to follow me. If Cindy were to call me on something that I had done wrong, she wouldn't be, it's not that she's being mean or showing revenge. She's showing that she is still focused and committed to the covenant that we have made. God loves us enough to constantly extend mercy. You know what mercy is? Mercy is what you get when you deserve something else. If the only perspective you have of walking with God is religious rules, you're missing the greatest part.